At James Peak, geologic history is rich with many diverse and substantial geologic feats. It all started with the formation of a strong, granite and metamorphic rock that began in the middle of the Proterozoic era. Throughout the Paleozoic era until the end of the Permian period, the first layer of rocky mountains called the ancestral Rockies were uplifted and downlifted into the foothills we see today. Specifically at James Peak, the water level rose, letting large amounts of sediments deposit during the Cretaceous period. This time of great flooding helps geologists and archaeologists find fossils and identify rock layer ages. Scientists believe that during this time, the Pacific Oceanic Plate collided with the North American Plate. This caused the oceanic plate to subduct, which led to the creation of the second set of Rocky Mountains, our current Rocky Mountains. Until the Tertiary period, these new mountains grew to enormous heights that towered over the plains. During the Quaternary period, soft sediments like sandstone, shale, and chalk from the Cretaceous period slowly erode away, leaving defined features such as peaks, buttes, and ridges that resemble what look like a modern-day landscape. However, this was just a start for James Peak, because it has a unique and iconic figure. St. Mary's Glacier. The glacier was formed nearly 1.8 million years ago during the Pleistocene epoch. This is a geologic time event because over time, St. Mary's Glacier has eroded James Peak into the shapes we see today. Because of St. Mary's Glacier, the mountain it lies on has some very distinct features, like a U-shaped valley, a ret, and a kettle lake at the base of the mountain. Features like these are still being made today by the constant erosion of the glacier. Glacier erosion is one of the three large weathering and erosional forces that have created my site. It is made of two large and very different parts. Plucking is the first process that takes place during the erosion. When a glacier is plucking, what is actually occurring is the glacier is using its immense pressure to pick up small rocks. The other force occurs when the glacier moves. These rocks cause abrasions on the boulders underneath them. Plucking and abrasions cause very distinct striations across the surface of the boulders that the glacier has slid upon. In this diagram, you can see a glacier at work. The blue arrow shows where the rocks are being plucked. As the ice flow continues downhill, the green arrow shows the striations that are made at my site. Frost wedging is another large force that can destroy rocks in a matter of years. Because James Peak is in the Rocky Mountains and is covered by a glacier, frost wedging can really take a toll on the mountain. Frost wedging occurs when water seeps into the cracks and microscopic pores of a rock. Once the water is in these cracks, it freezes and expands about 9%. Water expands because when it freezes, the molecules arrange themselves in a larger crystalline pattern. The pressure from the frozen water causes cracks to grow larger. As the water thaws and freezes repeatedly, the crack slowly gets larger and larger until it finally breaks apart. Evidence of frost wedging and glacier erosion is shown in the debris slopes that cover James Peak. Glaciers can transport large boulders and rocks downhill, shown in the picture that some rocks are much larger than others in the same piles. On the other hand, frost wedging breaks apart rocks into smaller and smaller pieces, creating talus slopes. Organic organisms are constantly breaking into rock surfaces. At James Peak, I didn't only notice the tree roots intertwined with rocks, but the lichen. Lichen grows on top of rocks in different colors and species, but they all have the same goal to reach the moist, nutritious soil underneath. Lichen can very slowly break down a rock using its acids to eat it away. A faster way that a rock erodes is by tree roots. Tree roots can find fractures in a rock and begin to grow inside them. As a tree gets larger, so does its roots, and when that occurs, the tree's cell structure gets larger. As the cells are wedged into the fracture, immense pressure builds, and the rock breaks open. The rock inside is more vulnerable than the one on the outside, and can be quickly weathered away by other forces.